I'm in my grandparents' house in their little breakfast nook, and I'm gonna show you some of their cookbooks. All the cookbooks are in here. We'll start with Better Homes because I feel like this is a classic. My mom has this cookbook, but like a newer edition. This one is from 1962. It was originally printed in 1953. This is a revised edition, first printing of the 1962 one. First of all, the cover is so good. I love how these Better Homes cookbooks like stick with the plaid. It has like the kitchenware with the words inside. Here's the side. At the front of this cookbook, it actually has a few pages inserted, which are from Ronson. Ronson, I found out, is a lighter company because at the end of one of the pages it says, "Remember, Ronson does a lot more than light cigarettes." But these Ronson pages are so nice. They have like a watercolor paper texture, and I love the illustrations. I wish that it said who did them, but they give me like Seymour Schwast vibes. It's written in here that these pages were inserted in 1969. I feel like paper isn't printed in these like fun colors anymore, and the illustrations are just so awesome. I also love this typeface. This is the start of the new cookbook. The cookbook is just so 60s. Like there's this little comic on the first page, and it's like the wife cooking for her family and her husband, and it says, "You'll serve nutritious meals, you'll save time and effort, you'll reduce food bills, you'll be a good hostess." And then on the next page it just has like fun 60s words like, "Of course you're a busy lady, that's why we have a section of jiffy meals that rival the kind that take hours to prepare." I just like the use of the word jiffy there. Then there are these photographs at the beginning of each tabbed section, and I love the way it's laid out like across the spread, and just the colors of the photo is amazing. And the way the food is displayed, I love it so much. The photographs are like some of my favorite things about this book because they're just so of the era, and the black and white is super cool. Look at this spread and like the 60s outfit she's wearing. And then one of the most special parts of this book is in the back. In the back of this cookbook is a letter sent in 1962 to my grandparents, and the stamp cost 4 cents. My grandma wrote a little recipe or shopping list on the back. There's also a coffee stain. The letter is just like an update of this person's life, and she also included a photograph of my grandparents' wedding. I just love that this is kept in the back of the cookbook. There's also the Family Circle Dictionary of Antique Furniture. It's just like this little few pages catalog type thing of antique furniture. I don't really know where this came from. Then this is like an ad for Dole. The back says new improved Tums. It's an ad for Tums. And buy a share in American United States saving bond. Fix an old favorite a nifty new way and save 25 cents. And then also on the back there's a picture of this woman like who's a phone operator. And then there's this spice and herb chart, which just comes with the cookbook. So yeah, that's the Better Homes cookbook. It might be my favorite just because of this letter. The next cookbook is awesome just because of its cover, but the inside is amazing too, but I love the cover. This is the Betty Crocker's New Picture Cookbook. And here's the side. This has been really loved, so the side is like taped up. And then here's the back. So this one was printed in 1961. This is the first edition, third printing. Well, this first page is torn out, so I'll show you. I just love the illustration. And then the back of it has these cool images. This was placed in the front of the cookbook. This is scented holiday ornaments and its ingredients. Just like the last cookbook, this one also has amazing illustrations. I love the way that these illustrations are stylized and like how they're a little bit quirky, and their use of line, like the way that the line is textured a little bit, like it's not just super straight and smooth. And I also love how like some areas are like color blocked and then other areas are just line. It's so 60s. This book has really good like narrative illustrations. So in the section of appetizers, there's an illustration of like a dinner party where they're eating appetizers. And then in the beverage section, there's like a little girl with a lemonade stand outside of a house. What's interesting about the illustrations in this cookbook is they seem to be more about the people than the food. The drawings do include food, but The emphasis is always on the people. Oh my gosh, look at how great and vibrant this photo is. This reminds me of Willy Wonka. Right here, it looks like my grandma inserted a page from like a newspaper or magazine. Feels like magazine. It's for crunchy peanut butter parfaits. And then the back has autumn cottage pudding and chocolate rice pudding. And then in the back of this cookbook is Family Circles barbecues from around the world. So these are just a bunch of barbecue recipes. And then there's also this little cutout of vegetable cheese bake recipe and another spice and herb chart. Now we're moving on to this baking cookbook. This is Pillsbury's Best 1000 Recipes. Oh my gosh, immediately when you open it, gorgeous picture. I love the like panorama. This one is from 1959. Here's a great magic fudge cake photograph. This is the back spread. So on top of this book in the shelf, there were all these, which are like smaller cookbooks or like miscellaneous things that like came with something else. It looks like this might have come with the crock pot. I love how it's like pocket sized and the front and back photos are awesome. Recipe book from Presto pressure cooker. In the back is amazing too. And then this front page has an ad for the now Presto controlled heat appliances can be automatically timed too. Hamburgers, plain and fancy. This one is awesome. Hot dog cookbook, Nathan's Famous. The back says Governor Nelson Rockefeller said no man can hope to get elected in New York State without being photographed eating hot dogs at Nathan's Famous, while he was being photographed eating a hot dog at Nathan's. I just didn't know there could be so many hot dog recipes. Kellogg's Creative Cookery. The back has some Rice Krispie treats. There's a little guy on this one. Here is Ronson Cook and Stir 10-speed blender. So Ronson is the cigarette company from earlier that had some pages inserted in the cookbook. I love how this is just like an instruction manual that came with the item, but it's still like thought out design with super cool illustrations, even though they're just black and white. Whoa, I love the cover of this one. New Sunbeam Special Cooker Deep Fryer. I love the red. Magical desserts with whip and chill. Man. Oh, this one is like a full spread cover illustration. The colors are so awesome. Here is a cutout. This is 3 different ways to make delicious desserts or salads with your party gel. It's like those classic 60s Jell-O cake molds. This one is a brownie mix. Like it had the mix in it. You can see it's open, but this was saved for the recipes. So those are all the little books. Now we're moving on to fondue books. Out of all the cookbooks, this one has my favorite cover. Dinner in a Dish by Betty Crocker. And here's the back. I love the way that the front and back work together, and the green is so vibrant and it looks so good against these colors. And then I love the little like drawing swirls and the font. I love everything about this book cover. This one is from 1965 and it's first edition, first printing. In the front of the book right here, it says Happy Easter 1969, love Mom and Dad R. So this is from my grandpa's parents. The page that's most used in here is bookmarked, and the book kind of just naturally opens up to it. It's a party with fondue. And my mom said that this is what she would always request for her birthdays when she was little. Here's a page with some good illustrations at the bottom. I just found this little index card with my grandma's writing. She wrote a recipe on here. I'm not really sure what the recipe's for, but it involves cheese. Here I just found a handwritten recipe for pork chops with prunes. My grandparents have so many books around the house and I love all of them, but the cookbooks might be my favorite just because of all these handwritten notes inside. Okay, then there's also fondue. Here's the front and the back. This one is the 3rd printing and it's from 1970. This one has a different vibe than the other books so far because it's from the 70s, but also it seems like a little bit more serious because it's like fondue, it's like fancy. So the pictures, they're not as like playful. They're like dark backgrounds like paired with wine. Look at that fancy background. It's like we're sophisticated because we eat fondue. Look at this. This page is bookmarked, the fondue meal cappers for chocolate fondue. We're a dessert family, so I'm not surprised that that page is bookmarked. Now we have the grilling books, which are so funny because they're so like catered to men, and all the cookbooks are catered to women. So it's funny to see the difference. This one is Better Homes and Gardens Barbecue Book. You open it up and there's grill illustrations. This one is from 1965. And immediately the difference in this one, first photograph and it's the man cooking and serving. I love this pork cuts for the barbecue page. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of funny the way that it's cut out. In the back there's fire building tips with some cute illustrations. And then we also have this other Better Homes and Gardens meat cookbook. It's funny to also see like how food has changed over the years, because I feel like this like hot dog egg thing would not really be something people are interested in today. This one's from 1969, second printing. You can also tell that the colors are changing from the 60s because now it's like the 70s almost. And you know, the color palette shifts. The back of it has meat roasting chart, but I really like the way that it's printed on this yellow. I think that looks so good. So those are all my favorite of my grandparents' cookbooks. They're so special to me because I know that my grandma used them for like years and years, and she made food for my whole family with them. And I just love the little notes that I found inside. And whenever I come to my grandparents' house, it's like my favorite thing to dig through their stuff. So I had a lot of fun looking at those cookbooks, and it's a section of the house that I haven't really looked at much before. Thank you so much for digging into those cookbooks with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!